The 2009 Pixar film Up is celebrated not only for its emotional storytelling but memorable characters, showcasing the love and commitment between Carl and Ellie, but also for its groundbreaking use of technology and animation techniques. Welcome to Galore Techs. Today, we're going to have a look at how this emotional and richly detailed animation was made and how Pixar crafted this masterpiece, focusing on visuals, the animation techniques, and the technological challenges it overcame. Directed by Pete Docter, the movie Up features Ed Asner as Carl, Christopher Plummer as Charles Muntz, and Jordan Nagai as Russell. Tension across the globe emotionally, and it was critically acclaimed. The film earned a 98% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The movie makers had a budget of $175 million and a successful box office business of over $735 million worldwide. Up also won several accolades, including 2 Academy Awards for Best Animated Feature and Best Original Score, and it received nominations for Best Picture, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Sound Editing. Pixar's proprietary rendering software, RenderMan, played a pretty crucial role in bringing Up to life. RenderMan excels at producing stunning imagery for VFX and feature film animation, allowing artists to achieve high-quality rendering with advanced features such as motion blur, subsurface scattering, and path tracing. These features help simulate realistic lighting, translucency, and the way that light interacts with surfaces, which are really all essential for the film's detailed environments and their characters. Now, we all know one of the most iconic images in this movie was the house being lifted up by thousands of colorful balloons. Creating this effect was a significant challenge for the studio. The animation team had to manage the complexity of simulating over 10,297 balloons along with their own strings. A technical director calculated that to make Carl's house fly, he would require 23 million balloons. But Docter realized that such a high number made the balloons look like small dots. So instead, the balloons created were made to be twice Carl's size. So they settled with having 10,297 balloons for shots of the house flying, and 20,622 balloons for the liftoff sequence and a couple of other scenes. The producer of the movie, Jonas Rivera, remarked that the audience looks at the balloon cluster and says, "Oh, that's pretty." But they have no idea how much work really went into it. He said that they worked on animating those balloons for over a year. Each of the balloons was individually modeled and animated, interacting with one another and with the house. And this needed to look realistic, so they used a physics-based simulation approach, employing the Open Dynamics Engine, ODE, and even custom Python scripting to control the behavior of the balloons. This allowed them to simulate realistic movements and collisions, including accurate light refraction, giving the balloons really a lifelike quality. The studio was keen on making them look as realistic as possible because the balloons were, after all, central to the film's branding. Now, the giant bird character, Kevin, presented another unique challenge. In creating Kevin, animators used real ostrich references to ensure accuracy and believability. They studied ostrich physical movements, such as their distinctive running style, the way they bend their neck, and head bobbing, to replicate these in Kevin's animation. Observations of ostrich behavior provided insights into the bird's posture, gait, and the way it interacts with its environment. Now, Pixar had to create a soft, fluffy appearance for Kevin's feathers while also achieving an iridescent effect. This involved modeling the feathers using a combination of fur techniques and additional layers of hair. The team simulated iridescence by calculating how light would interact with the feathers based on the angle of an incidence and the viewer's perspective, producing realistic color shifts and highlights. Pixar's team used a combination of traditional animation techniques and advanced computer graphics. Key frames were drawn to establish Kevin's key poses and movements, while in-between frames were generated to smooth out the animation. The animators also employed dynamic simulations for Kevin's feathers to achieve natural movement and response to her environment. Animating the 78-year-old Carl's movements in the movie involved a detailed and thoughtful approach to character animation, considering his age and personality. Supervising animators sought to realistically portray an elderly man, focusing on his slower, more deliberate movements. They observed older individuals to capture the nuances of Carl's physical limitations, ensuring his actions reflected his age. The animators used techniques like keyframe animation to emphasize his stiffness and subtle motions to convey emotions. Carl didn't turn his head more than 15 to 20 degrees without turning his torso as well, nor could he raise his arms high. However, they also wanted him to grow more flexible near the end of the film, transforming into an action hero. The clothes that Carl wore was another thing that they wanted to look realistic, and the supervising technical director on Up, Steve May, said that Carl's threads were the hardest clothing we've ever had to animate here, because of his short size and oversized suit. That was another case of using the physical simulation and setting up rules for how cloth should behave. The looser the clothing, the more badly it can behave. Technological challenges. Lighting is a critical aspect of 3D animation, and it helps convey mood, time of day, and atmosphere. For Up, Pixar used RenderMan to handle the complex lighting setups required for different scenes. This included simulating natural lighting conditions, such as the warm glow of sunset or the diffused light of a cloudy day. Path tracing, which is a rendering technique that simulates the way light bounces off of surfaces, was used extensively to achieve realistic lighting effects. Now, Pixar's animators used advanced rigging techniques to really bring the characters of Up to life. Each character was rigged with numerous points of articulation, allowing for a wide range of expressions and movements. For example, Carl's face was rigged to allow for subtle changes in his expressions, which was crucial for conveying the film's emotional depth. Pixar developed advanced rigging systems that allowed animators to manipulate the facial features with absolute precision. This involved creating numerous control points on the digital models that could be adjusted to simulate muscle movements, such as raising an eyebrow or even smiling. These controls were essential for achieving the subtle expressions that made characters like Carl and Russell so relatable and expressive. The animators also used blend shapes. It's a technique where different facial expressions are modeled and then blended together to create smooth transitions between expressions. This allowed for a high level of nuance and realism in the characters' performances. Pixar even developed specialized simulation software to handle those complex animations involving hair, fur, water, and other dynamic elements. For example, Sully's fur in Monsters, Inc. and the underwater scenes in Finding Nemo, they really set the stage for the advancements seen in Up. The simulation software allows animators to focus on artistic aspects, while the software handles the physics of movement, such as the swaying of Kevin's feathers or the flowing of water. Voice acting is another essential component of Pixar's animation process. For Up, renowned actors like Ed Asner and Jordan Nagai provided the voices of the main characters. Voice actors' performances were recorded with careful attention to detail, capturing various inflections and even the emotional nuances. Pixar also filmed the actors during their recording sessions to use their facial expressions and body language as references for animating the characters. The final stage of production involved rendering the film scenes and adding post-production effects. Rendering is a process of converting all the data and all the programming that went into creating a virtual scene into a final image. This step requires immense computational power, with Pixar's render farm working around the clock to process the vast amounts of data. The rendered frames were then composited, color corrected, and edited to create that final film. Up really pushed the boundaries of what was possible in animation at the time. The film's success can be attributed to Pixar's commitment to innovation and its willingness to develop new tools and techniques. The advancements made during the production of Up have influenced subsequent films, both at Pixar and across the animation industry. Although the movie Up was released way back in 2009, it is still much loved and talked about just because of how well it was made and how deeply it touched the audience's hearts. So, have you seen this classic movie? Tell me what part of the movie you loved the most in the comments. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more interesting Galore Text videos. Thanks for watching.